How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be doing my review for Arrow Season 7, Episode 20, entitled Confessions. But first, remember, if you guys are new, make sure to check out my social media and vlogging channel down in the description below. And without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, so where do I even begin? This was a very unexpected episode, and honestly, the majority of this episode, I was like, this kind of sucks. Like, this is a pretty boring, filler-like episode, and it wasn't completely filler, or at least the first 30 minutes of this episode wasn't filler because, I mean, it was structured like it. Honestly, without the Roy stuff, if you didn't have Roy in this episode, which I'll give my thoughts on him being back in a second, and all that good jazz. But if he was not in this episode, I really do feel like this episode would be awful. And it felt structurally, that's not a word, I don't know. It was structured like a filler episode, where they have all the main characters in one setting, SCPD, and they flash back to different settings, or I guess it really wasn't a different setting, but it was a different setting from where they were in the present timeline, I guess. And they were finding out, oh, who killed these two guards? It was set up like a filler episode. Yes, we had the Emiko stuff. Okay, she's the main villain, she's the main, I don't want to say idea of this season, but, you know, she's in this episode, so I guess it's not completely filler. And again, I'm strictly talking about the first 30 or so minutes of this episode. Because the Emiko storyline, it wasn't really advancing. Nothing was advancing. Like, no new information was happening. It was like, so boring just to see Dinah keep talking to our characters like this. You know, like, oh, I bet you killed those guards. Oh, no, we gotta find out. Oh, man, like, oh, what's really happening? Tell the truth, blah, blah, blah. That shit was pissing me off so much, and it was just, like, boring to watch after this, like, 30 minutes of just nonstop, did you kill the guards? I don't know, dude, I don't know. Though you did have the Roy stuff, which again, this first 30 or so minutes of the episode, if we did not have Roy, this episode would have been awful. But, again, I'll get to the last 10 minutes or so of the episode in a second. But I do want to talk about Roy. I loved Roy in this episode, and again, I will talk about the massive reveal that we got at the end of this episode with him. But yeah, him being back, that was awesome. We got some great action sequences with him, which I really, really liked. I was really surprised about the stuff and the parkour scene towards the beginning of this episode. I really liked that. But now I kind of want to go into the good part of the episode, which ultimately made this episode kind of fantastic. So I keep blabbing on about these first 30 minutes. Yeah, these first 30 minutes weren't that great, though you did have some Roy stuff. Okay, fair enough. But then at the end of this episode, there's a twist. And then I was not expecting this, and I was like, well, fuck. And at first I thought, Dinah killed the guards? Damn, that's stupid. And then they had Roy kill the guards. And then I was like, oh, wait, are they going to have Roy kill the guards? And then he did. And then I was like, what the shit is happening? Then we find out that Roy fucking died. He had to get resurrected in the Lazarus pits, which they hinted at when he was talking with Oliver about being with Thea, tracking down the last of the Lazarus pits. But yeah, so he got resurrected, and that's why he was raging on those guards when he was beating them to death. And I was like, damn, this is so crazy. Like, Roy did it, and I was like, damn, this is nuts. Like, it kind of needed to be Roy, though. Like, who else would do that? But it was still crazy to me. Also, just to see Roy and Oliver talk with each other, and just Roy being back on screen in the present timeline, obviously not in the flash forwards, which we've been seeing him in, that was really, really cool. Looks like he's going to continue being in the rest of the season. Hopefully the rest of the series. Just because we know Season 8 is going to be 10 episodes, and we only have 2 more episodes of this season, which I did watch the promo. Roy is in next week's episode, so I really hope he sticks around for the rest of the series. I think he will. Like, I actually do think he will. We also do have some Amiko stuff in this episode where she does tell Oliver that she knew the Queen's Gambit was going to sink or crash, I guess. So that was interesting, and the way they ended this episode off with Oliver kind of being trapped underneath all the rubble and Amiko, they didn't really have a fight. I predicted they were going to have like a pretty epic brawl in this episode, but maybe we'll get that next week. Maybe we'll get that the week after in the season finale, hopefully, but yeah, ultimately, I thought the first 30 or so minutes of this episode was just like complete filler, and it was just boring to me and like annoying. But the last 10 minutes or so, I was like, whoa, this escalated quickly, and this shit is actually insane. And yeah. Anyway, though, those are my thoughts on this episode. Overall, I liked it, but just because majority of it wasn't that great, it does taint the episode a little bit. But I guess let me hear your thoughts on this episode down in the comments below. Really happy Roy's back. All the revelations that come with this episode, that was crazy. But let me hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below. And if you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Boop.